on, buddy? What's up, Jamie?
Andy, not a lot. Happy Thursday. Good to be here.
Yes. Yeah. Good to have you here, and especially good to have everyone else out there, the people that have, the traders and investors who have taken the time out of their the day to hopefully learn something. And we do appreciate it. And before we get started here, let's take care of the legal issues as we always do. Just remember, as we're going through this is for educational purposes only. Okay, we're going to give you some great ideas to help you become a better trader, but nothing that you see in here should be used or, construed as investment advice. If that's what you're seeking, look for an RIA or a registered broker, somebody who is actually licensed to provide that information for you. But our stuff's a lot more fun. For those of you guys in here kicking the tires, and I know there's a few in here, there's no better way. You can do much more than kick the tires. You can get inside it and drive it for a week, and that's everything, full access for a whole week for only $8.88. Scott's going to bring this to your attention again at the end of this, because this is huge value. I mean, you can come in and check out everything, Holly, the AI, all of the tools, alerts, multi-strategy, top list, price, everything for only $8.88. Do not miss this and sign up. I'm sure you've been seeing it all over our website, so don't pass it up. And that's going to start Monday the 17th. That's this Monday, but you will have access after the close on Friday. So really you get an extra couple of days of playing around with the software before we jump into it. I should say jump into it with live market action on Monday. All right. Guys, I want to remind everybody about our support, education, and training here. We definitely pride ourselves on it. I like to call it 5-star because it is. And we have 4 webinars a week, Monday through Thursday at 5 Eastern time. Where you're going to see a lot of the kind of stuff you're going to see today, but everybody has their own little style and way of presenting thing, and favorite alerts and things that we share with you. And it's just, especially if you're a new trader, I would try to hit every one of these, because you're going to learn so much about Holly. You're going to learn so much about our different styles and what we look for. Because really ultimately what you want to do is find a style, find a niche that's right for you. And by attending all of the webinars, I think over time you'll be able to do that. And not only that, you got the Traders Room, where not only do you have Barry, who's an incredible moderator who trades live while you get to view. And this is free. You don't have to be a subscriber. This is free for everybody. We're confident you'll become one once you see everything that he's able to do with the software in there, but you do not have to be a subscriber to venture in there. And that's every day for basically about 6.5 to 7 hours a day. And then we've added now, I think we're probably going on our 5th or 6th week here, the Friday support session from 11 to 2 p.m. Eastern time. Getting some great feedback, some incredible emails of people coming in there and really just blown away by the support and help they're getting, learning the software, because it's a Q&A format. We don't sit here and just talk to be talking. We look to what you want to be answered, and we answer it. And not only do we answer it verbally, we actually demonstrate it for you in the same format using GoToWebinar to present it to you, so you can not only hear, you can see what's going on. Incredible model and format, and it works very well for especially for the people trying to learn the product. So please get in that. And on top of all that, when you become a subscriber, you get a free one-on-one training. This is a $99 value, and we have people that take many of them, buy many of these. But it is free once you sign up. You do get one free, and even if you subscribe for the standard package, this is free. It's one-on-one with myself, Jamie, or Steve, and I won't. At this time of year when we have the, pardon me guys for having to go over this, but it's important. When we have our test drive Okay, it pulls me and Jamie and Steve away from our one-on-one training to, we have to pretty much allocate all of our support and education during that week by holding 4-hour, I think, long webinars every day where you can come to. So if you're new to the product and you're frustrated because you're having to wait 2 or 3 weeks for a one-on-one, don't be, because we're going to have all next week, we're going to be having these support forums for like 4 hours a day, starting maybe, I think, 30 minutes after the market opens, 7, I think it's 7 Pacific time. So just be patient. I trust me. This is better for you, because now you can get the product. You can come to these 4-hour sessions and learn as much as you can about the software. And then when it comes time for your one-on-one, maybe a few weeks out, you're going to be much more educated with the software, and then we can get more advanced with the one-on-one training. So just be patient. I know sometimes it's frustrating because you want to get it and learn as much as you can right now, and we do have the resources to help you. Be sure to look at your confirmation email. We have videos in there, so we have resources, but be patient. I'm sorry I'm having to spend a little bit of time on that, but I know what happens this time of year, and people sometimes get frustrated when they have to wait maybe 2 or 3 weeks for the one-on-one. So wanted to go over that. For you advanced traders, people that like writing their own strategies and alerts and actually want to automate that trading, we do have a product called Brokerage Plus. Once again, this is for the intermediate and advanced traders. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on that. You can learn more about it at trade-ideas.com/beta. Got some videos in there to show you what it's all about. It does work only with the interactive broker brokerage at this time. So anyway, check that out if you guys are interested. Those out there that want to do some automated trading, that's your ticket right there. All right, let's take a look at the agenda for today. We're going to talk about the market recap. I'm going to spend a little bit of time talking about air pockets, because I'm starting to see a few coming into the market this time of the year when the volume really starts to dry up. You can get little air pockets, especially in the the major indices, and oh, I shouldn't say especially. You get them in stocks too. Well, I'll talk about that. Holly recap. We're going to talk a little bit about it today. It was kind of a sloppy market. Averages up a little bit. Volume was light, but there was some opportunity, and we're going to go. I'm going to talk about a couple of them, and then Jamie's going to talk about a couple of them because there was some good opportunity there today. And then I'm going to spend a little bit of time. It's earnings season, and I'm going to show you an alert that I really like a lot during earnings season. It's called Option Play Magic. I know a lot of you regulars have seen this before, but it doesn't hurt to reiterate it to you to bring it back to your attention, because it is that time of the quarter, I should say, where earnings season starts coming out again. And I'm going to also show you the Option Play Magic Earnings Edition. You can only find stocks that have just recently reported earnings. So with that said, Jamie, let's venture on over to the market.
That sounds mighty good.
All righty, and let's talk about the spiders as we always do. And this is typical the day, kind of a day like you had today, where it was lackluster, not a lot of volume. We've had a nice, kind of bounce. It looks like the market was going to basically potentially roll over. We did hold this very important line. I guess one could argue and actually drag that up just a little bit if they wanted to. We held that level and bounced right off of it, and now it looks like we could be, approaching all-time highs. It is that time of year. I was one, and a lot of red flags and they're still there for me. The red flags when it comes to the Qs. Looking at this volume still on the downside, it looks like I'm not going to draw it here, but if you drew a trend line, the downward sloping trend line right there, you can kind of see we're just barely poked above that. But less volume, that doesn't mean we can't just keep going to highs, guys, and especially in the summertime. You talk about a melt up, we could have one of those markets that just very lackluster trading, just melting up on low volume gaps. You'll get a lot of gaps sometimes in this kind of environment. So it is what it is. I mean, some days are going to be difficult, and I going into the day, I was thinking, this could be a difficult day because we've had a nice bounce on what looked like could have potentially been, you know, a prolonged period of selling in the market the way the technicals were setting up. But once again, Lucy pulls a football, and we get a nice bounce there, you know, in the market. So. And the diamonds, once again, even though the spies and Qs are not there, spies are close, but the diamonds, I don't like to talk much about this. Once again, I always refer to this as a kind of an antiquated indice because it's only 30 stocks, and so I don't spend a lot of time there. But let me look at the IWM because I haven't looked at this in a few days. And it's still, to me, in a very sloppy range. I've been saying this for months now. This has done nothing for me lately. It's too, you know, back and forth, sloppy. There's just nothing, you know, and look at there. You had a fake breakout here, fake breakout there, tried to get one going there. There's just nothing there for me. So mostly it looks like we're in the big caps. But what I wanted to say, guys, let me pull up the 15-minute chart because I do want to spend a little bit of time on this talking about the market today. And you may see this a lot, you know, especially when news comes out. Let me take off the pre-market here and get a better look at the 15-minute chart. And you'll get these little, you know, air pockets, you know, kind of like you saw right here on this day. Of course, that's when the, you know, Donald Trump Jr. mess. But regardless, I didn't think that was a reason to, you know, to sell off, you know, real hard. But and then this morning, I thought, you know, this was kind of out of nowhere. You know, the market kind of opened up, and then this move right here was a doesn't look like much, but it's, you know, for a stock that's kind of just slowly bleeding up. I thought that was kind of to go to crash the lows like that. And you'll see this in individual stocks too. And what the point I want to make is, you know, don't be surprised, especially as we get into very late July and all of August, you know, if you see little pockets like this, whether it's some little piece of news that comes out, there's very little liquidity. When you're moving up on this type of relative volume, and the other day we saw it almost 50% in the Qs. That is anemic volume. So when you start looking up, that's what's great about this little single stock window. You know, you can see the relative volume in there. So any stock you pull up, you can see the relative volume. So when you start seeing it like that, and you start seeing these air pockets and fall, just be careful. This is a time where it's a good time to pull back. Don't try to make your year in the summertime. You know, try to make a little if you can. Capital preservation. You know, there's still opportunity out there, but it can be difficult to trade. So yes, air pockets. I'm just talking about where it just doesn't seem like there's any liquidity there. In other words, all the bids just kind of disappear and the stocks will fall down, you know, pretty quick. You know, kind of like the spiders did here this morning. You know, they opened up, you had a couple of decent bars, and then all of a sudden, bam, went to lows. You know, not much, but you know, they could get more exaggerated as we get, you know, the volume gets thinner and thinner in the summer. This is a really good one right there. So just be aware of it, because we've noticed it in if we look at risk on here and Holly today, you can see what's happening. Here's Holly up. Now, you know, she's probably in maybe 10 trades at this time, and then all of a sudden you get that move like this. Well, look what Holly did. Just, and this could be very similar to your P&L when you get these, you know, air pockets, quote unquote. So,
right, Andy, it's kind of like,
just beware, you know.
Andy, it's kind of like an airplane, right?
Go ahead.
Airplanes,
yeah.
The reason they fly is because they can maintain that lift. But if you hit a pocket where there's no lift, things don't go too well, right? And it's like the wind was strong initially, and then it just died. In other words, you know, a good analogy, the doldrums, how the pirates and all the ancient merchants would get stuck in the ocean with no wind. The wind was good, and then all of a sudden it just died. It wasn't the sustained we see on these bigger up days, all of which can be kind of ascertained and give us a little bit of hint from using metrics like compare count windows and all this stuff we normally go over. But yeah, if you haven't heard that term before, takes a little explaining.
No, no, yeah, it's a good analogy there. Right there is an airplane, and both of them actually. That is, the doldrums. Uh, all right, but that's enough of that. I mean, the markets have been resilient now for 8 years, and I haven't seen any change there. I mean, just when you have the warning flag up, and something will come out, whether it be, a lot of times it's our feds kind of getting some dovish talk. I think that's what happened, with the big gap up the other day in the market. But that's the market we've been dealing with now for 8 years, and nothing has changed. All right, let's move on to Holly. And I usually turn that pretty much over to Jamie, but I do want to talk about a couple of trades in here, and then I'll turn it over to him because he has a couple of real good ones to break down for you. But I want to talk about what I saw this morning right on the first alert that came out this morning, and that's Dick's Sporting Goods, DKS, and this was off of the Sunrise Mover, okay? Well, first I wanted to show, because I printed a screen, because pretty much right when Holly alerted it, it went against her, and you can see there the risk on profit, it was down like 10 cents. I know a lot of people complain about slippage when it comes to Holly, but I tell you, I see this quite a bit. I think, where you can get a lot better price than what Holly gets. So this goes off this one. This is kind of like the trader when I talk about, knowing your sectors, knowing what's strong. If you would have been, keeping an eye on the news this morning, you would have known that Target kind of up there raised their second quarter guidance a little bit. So there was a gap up in the retail sector, a beaten up retail sector. I'll show you that in a minute. But yeah, a retail sector that has really been destroyed lately. And then all of a sudden, you get this DKS comes out, and you come out on Holly's alert. Then you look over here on your sector analysis, and you see it's the top sector on the board. It's still early. It's 8:45, so maybe you want to, some people don't want to trade early, but this is why I had conviction, and this is not just hindsight. I was telling people earlier, I said, earlier, I said, I really love this DICK's because it, it's in the right sector. You got the news on Target, and let's just take a look at what happened, with it this morning, and I thought it was a great trade, and this is why. For those, obviously, most of us do not take Holly's trades. So I'm going to show you kind of what things that I will look up to and look out for and marry up when I'm looking for a Holly trade. So I see that one go off. I know the retail sector is the strongest one on the board. And let's just put it on DKS right now. And did I not? There it is. All right, so here's the Holly alert at 36.55. The stop's at 36.63. Kind of a tight stop, but got nowhere near it. It's pretty much was. It did have that little 10, maybe 12 cent move down when I showed you where you could have gotten a better price. But then immediately after that, let me just put it on a 5-minute chart to even kind of, we can show it even a little bit closer here. There we go. So yeah, it went off in this bar right here at 9:45, and basically no pain. You had maybe 10 cents, and then it just dug in and had a nice little push, for the next 35 or 40 minutes. And it's one of those ones where Holly got out for a risk-off profit of 08 cents. And we tell you guys all the time, if everything is lining up, if the market is not working against you, and in this case, the market kind of opened up, slopped around, had that little air pocket, but for the most part, I don't see any reason looking at this trade to get out for an 8-cent profit. It's just that's Holly using her risk parameters. Once she gets a certain amount of profit, she will not let it retrace, but so far, and she's going to get out for risk profit. But you as a trader, if you're looking at the retail sector, you see it's the strongest one on the board. Okay, you're pulling up Target, and you're pulling up, some other ones that may be in play, and you're seeing the strength across the board. That's probably one you don't want to get out for an 8-cent profit. There was no reason to, and you can see there, pulling it back up again. It's just dug in and just pretty much no pain for the next, what is that, 30 minutes before it finally ran into a little bit of resistance right here and pulled back. But even still, kind of just went sideways and finally went to highs the rest of the day. I mean, at the close there. So a good one. I was watching there. It was I just think that was one you really couldn't miss out on, and it was the very first Holly trade, and there was every reason to be in that one and to stick with that one. And that's the kind of, I kind of wanted to give you the logic of why, you know. Another one that I was keeping my eye, it never panned out, but it never really went that far against me either. But this is one, you know, I don't have time to get in the way I may play this one. I would definitely be looking for this one, especially if you get the XRT to get a further move. Had a nice little bounce there in the XRT. This is the XRT. Look at that, opened up and pretty much went up all day in that XRT. So you've had a couple of days of bounce one. This is why we say these Holly trades, people say, well, do you ever have any swing trades on there? This is where, you know, I mean, you're bottom fishing. There's no doubt about it. And there's ways to play trades like this. But this is one I will have on my radar, you know, for a potential, you know, turnaround. It's come down all the way from $80, you know, close to $80 all the way down to 50. And one to keep an eye on. Now, if I'm trading something like this, I don't go full bore. I may buy a third of it right now, maybe, and then if it does get a bounce, I'll buy another third and then another third and add to it. But when you're trying to trade something like this, you just don't go all in, because it is bottom fishing. But when everything else is kind of lining up and I'm seeing other ones bounce, this is something that I may, you know, take a shot on. All right, Jamie, do you want to go over take the wheel here and show them an incredible trade on GIMP?
Yeah, for sure. Hold on one second. You know, we had a user, right, so the market opens at 8:30 where Andy is, opens at 6:30 where I am, and of course Eastern, 9:30. Okay, right. Let me switch it around here. So I'd like to kind of continue a little bit about, you know, what Andy was talking about with these retailers today, because, you know, if you did just keep a little ear, you know, pointed at the news feeds today, you heard about retail, and of course Holly calling DKS in the first 15 minutes, which is, you know, about as early as she gets into some things, maybe sometimes 5 minutes earlier depending on strategy. But once again, I just kind of want to reiterate what Andy was saying first, because Holly's not the best at getting out. You know, her real gift of what this statistical system's superpower is the statistically weighted entry. We just give her the option to get out so she doesn't let winners turn into losers, right? So everybody just keep that in mind moving forward. Holly was only in that DIX trade for about 7 minutes. So also, too, keep in mind the stop loss. That's what a stop loss is for. So when you see Holly getting in and out, you know, within 10 or shorter period, 10-minute period or shorter, just keep that in mind. Hey, where's my stop loss? Is it down here? Is it here? Because it never really encroached on that stop loss at all. So that'll help you, you know, stay in the trades. But having said that, just along the same lines that Andy was talking about, there were plenty of other retailers that you had plenty of time to react to once you kind of got the vibe. One of them was this guy. And we all know this one likes to run simply because it's one of these guys that has a short interest that likes to run with, you know, these retailers as well. That little guy's still got a 34.31. It's one that comes up, rears its head a lot of the times. So yeah, one of the things that we can take away from Holly sometimes is not only can she call a bias, long or short, but a lot of the time some of the plays can point you to the industry or the sector that's going to be in play for the day. All right, so Holly as a whole, and I hope everybody can see my screen, and if there's any issues, let me know, but I think I adjusted everything properly. So on the whole today, Holly showed up to the party with 11 strategies that we see here. And we got a trade just about out of every one of them except this breakout strategy down here did not fire. but we can see a nice assortment of trades throughout the other strategies. Interestingly enough, we had 3 shorts show up today. Well, Holly tried a few short plays today, and as we can see, one strategy produced a little winner in G4, but if we look at the blotter here, we can see that still isn't really a very fruitful enterprise trying to short things in this market. Now, we have had a little bit of volatility, but you know, according to the indices here, you know, we were in doji land for a long time on the SPYs. Hey, everything looks honky-dory. Looks like, you know, we're heading back up to these highs. You know, look at the Qs. Got a little bit more room to go. This area up here, and then this one. But for all practical reasons, I mean, it's feeling more and more like a summer market, which for the first part of the summer it did not. But these slower days, and of course, if we look at the volume levels on the indices here, you know, not even one of these guys was at 1 today. So still relatively light volume, which is indicative of the summer. But of course, earnings are upon us. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that next week on how to keep tabs on these stocks that have earnings coming up. So let's just take a look at what Holly did today. So once again, just to recap, 11 strategies, only 3 of those guys were shorts. The rest were all longs. And of course, we will see corresponding ratio here when we look at Holly's trades. 24 trades total. These 4 guys were short, which leaves us with 20 long trades, which is where most of the money was at today. So let's do this. Now, Andy's already pointed out the DKS trade, which, wow, what a nice entry, what a nice initial run, and then we get a little sideways and almost finishing close, but a little higher than that initial pop that it had put in early on. So nice trade. Also, it tells us, hey, when we see a stock and we get familiar with the sectors and we see DKS, the next time you see a retailer, you're going to go, I wonder where W is. I wonder where Target is. You know, these big guys. Another similar thing in the insurance business is Progressive and Allstate, or in the exchanges. One of those was produced today, ICE. And every time I hear about ICE, or if Holly calls ICE, or I see ICE coming across one of my high volume tickers and it looks good, well then I automatically know to see what the CBOE is doing as well, because most of the times, but not all the time, they run in tandem. So this little guy right here, I mean, this little guy kind of stole the show today. I mean, DKS was good. GEMP, we got about the same on the dollar amount. And then, of course, respectable 2.41% on DKS. The little GIMP here, 5.67%. So the beautiful thing about GEMP today was we get the Holly signal right here. And I've already taken the liberty of marking this thing up, save a little time. But, you know, Andy, you know exactly what I'm about to say here. And those of you who attend on the regulars probably do too. We got a Holly play. It's coming from Wake Up Call. Wake Up Call came to the party with just a little over 50% probability. But as we all know, when we're dealing with statistics, we need above 50%. Just because we see one at a higher rate here doesn't necessarily mean that's going to be the guy that prints all the coin today. All right, so we had a 50% chance, over 50% chance of this thing working from a statistical standpoint. Then we notice, as Holly is calling it, as it's breaching that line, what is that? That's one of the most simple patterns you can ever hope to trade, called a range break. Just happens to be one of my favorites. So when I see Holly calling something with statistical probability coupled with my favorite pattern, I like to call that not 1 star from Holly, but now 2 stars, because it's coinciding with a perfect range break here. So we got 2 stars going for us. Makes it a little easier to push that buy button. Stop loss is right here. Look, I mean, talk about cutting it close. I mean, that is about as close as you can cut it without getting stopped out. But, you know, how many times have we seen that happen, Andy? You know, we put our stops in, we go to lunch, we come back. Wow. It came within 1 penny of stopping me out, but luck was on my side that day. The stop hunting algos weren't out in force, and we stayed in it. Now, all fine and dandy. We're in a few 100, 200 shares, get a little skin in the game with Holly. We get the sideways action, which is normal, kind of hugging that entry line. And then we get another little leg up here. Now, what are we seeing again? Now, number one, if you're in it, obviously you're going to be monitoring the price. That's what we do. Now, in addition to that, we've got other windows besides Holly. Now, this window probably looks familiar to regular attendees. Hopefully you've been watching it and getting some good trades off of it. But right at this time here, I see GEMP come across my turbo family up. As it's cracking this level right here, on its second range break, it's doing some crazy volume. Well, now we have Holly with statistical probability. We've already had one range break here. Now we're getting a second range break, and the volume's going nuts. So once again, a great time to add to that position because factors are lining up. Not one, not two, but now three. We got Holly, we got the pattern, and we've got this accelerated crazy volume kicking in. And so from a trader's perspective, that's really good stuff to combine into one trade. And we can see what happened for the rest of the day. This is definitely going to be a good one to keep an eye on because, you know, this pattern's repeating itself. That's the beauty about identifying a buyer early on, is that this is typically how the charts look. Some buying down here until the buyer takes control, creeping up here. The buyer really comes out in force, and we get the capitulation move here. But also, too, when we take a look at the daily and we look to the left, I mean, this thing is out of its box. It's out of its box from way back here. Well, first from here, then way back here, and now it's into blue sky territory, which, if there's nothing for it to bump its head into, doesn't mean it's going to continue to go up, but there's a lot higher probability that it will because there's no resistance. Now, what's it going to do tomorrow? Don't know. But today, the money was there on the intraday, and you know, I see the questions over there, so yeah, I'll be sure that I drop this into the window before we conclude the webinar. So once again, beautiful in the fact that Holly produced it, and then we have other metrics, other windows in place that let us know when the action is heating up. And you know, it's a real simple methodology, and that is also one of the beautiful aspects of it, because the simpler, the more simple our system is, not as many chances for us to screw up. All right, so that's the GIMP trade and why it was so special today. And let's take a look at what else we got here. So we covered Dix, GIMP. Now, this little guy kind of petered out at the end, and this is a good example of what happens sometimes later in the day. Now, it never really set up, you know, this is Holly getting long right here, by the way. All right. In that first 15-minute period, we got this nice waking tail here. That's always a good sign because sellers tried to take control, tried to fill a little bit of that gap. Gap did not get filled. A good percentage of it did. Snap back up, small candle here, and then all of a sudden Holly's like, okay, now it's time to have a piece. And of course, you know, really, really nice entry price right there with the blue line, and we get a little rise up. And then this is exactly what Andy was talking about earlier. Air pockets, all right? Perfect example of what Steve likes to call the chutes and ladders game, which we all played when we were kids, along with Sorry and all those other board games. But classic example. They go up on the staircase, little seller pops in, whoosh, takes a ride down on the elevator. Now, the beautiful thing about it is it took us back down to flat if we just held the trade all day, but it came nowhere near to our stop price. So we see this all the time with Holly. You know, if we kind of come back up here and look at GEMP, hugs that little line before it really makes the big move. Well, Dix not so much, took straight off, but ICE did the same thing. It just ran up before it came back down to the line, spent a little bit more time here, and then whoosh, right back up to higher highs. So whether we're in it with Holly and we've taken our money and said thank you, or whether we're just watching Holly and we're like, wow, that thing was up nice, now it's already back to flat, and we can see this little consolidation period here. I mean, once you get proficient at identifying these smaller bars on the intraday, you can start playing this game as well. Okay, well, it worked. It came back down. For whatever reason, we don't know. Day traders taking their money? Possibly. Just it really doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. But we get this nice little flattened out area here, a little consolidation, and our 7 alerts are great at picking up these types of this type of activity. And then once again, we get this little push up here and then a march straight up. So a very tradable chart on ICE today. And of course, when I saw ICE, what do I think about? I'm like, okay, well, if ICE is going up, CBOE, all right? So, you know, we can see that the signature of an algorithm right there on the open, running those stops out. So when I see something like this, play this game right here, if you want to be a purist, that's one of the bad things about these opening wide range bars is they really do kind of screw up your charts. A lot of people that I talk to today, they're like, you know what, I'm ignoring them. If it happened in the first 15 minutes, I'm typically ignoring them, and then I'm using the bodies of the candles moving forward. And this is really just a personal preference, you know. You can see here if you were monitoring it in that capacity and said, okay, draw some lines, take the high from this guy right here if you want to play that wick, whatever your price level is, and right-click and set your price alert. That way you don't miss it. That's exactly why we created price alerts, not only for people to learn and track their positions, but to not miss things, you know. Done it a million times myself. I do it a lot less frequently now that we've developed these tools as well. So we can see once CBOE perked back up here, start getting above this line here, it turned out to be a good trade. Why did I know about it? Because Holly told me about ICE and it was working nicely. Sometimes CBOE goes first and ICE follows. But today, this is the way it panned out. So that's a little bonus that you could have gotten from Holly. And I don't see anything about CBOE on here. It's because it's not on there. But because of our familiarity that ICE and CBOE are both exchanges, we could have dipped into that CBOE and got some money out of Holly that you don't see anywhere on these reports. So just kind of wanted to point that out. You know, the more time you spend, the more all of this is going to become second nature. Now, one other thing that I just feel compelled to talk about today is, you know, maybe people out there are on the fence about Holly because a lot of the times it's just because they don't understand the model as a whole and they just see all these trades coming out. But, you know, a statistical model is exactly that. We're looking at the whole batch of trades, how the whole batch of trades performed on the day. So the best way to start interacting with Holly is to start executing. And you don't have to put a lot on the line. Now, of course, commissions are going to come into play, and that's really the main battle, I would say, because we can do most of these brokerage houses where in the old days it was very faux pas to trade under 100 shares. They didn't like those odd lots, but times have changed. They don't really care anymore. A lot of people do a dollar amount per trade. So, you know, depending on your commission structure, if that's feasible, you know, even if you were piling into every trade on a micro share lot just to get the hang of it, to get some practice. Now, of course, commissions are important, but if you were doing that, check out the max profit column here. This is functioning under the risk off functionality, showing people what was the trade up at its most on risk off mode. Well, we can see all those values here, but the interesting thing to point out, with the exception of these zero values down here, which means they kind of fold over as soon as the entry was made. These guys were in the money 1 cent, but that is the point I'm trying to make here. With the exception of 3 trades, every one of these things was in the money at some point, and then we just have to employ proper risk management, which from a trading perspective is a pretty impressive feat. You know, if you or I tried to manually open up 24 trades and only 3 of them didn't go into the money by a penny or more from the time that we executed, that'd be quite a feat. And that's the power of this statistical model. So Andy, I don't want to eat up all the time here. If you're ready, I know you got some cool stuff to show them, so I'll flip it back over to you.
Perfect. Good job.
If I can find my, okay, here we go. All right, you should have it.
Perfect. All right, guys. I went ahead and dropped my 2 cloud links into the chat room of the alerts I'm going to be talking about today. One of them is called Option Play Magic, and the other one is Option Play Magic Earnings. So just only a very small difference in the filter but it will save you some steps of having to do it on your own, because there is a lot of different strategies in these. This is a multi-strategy window. Let me just kind of show you what we're doing here. If you right-click in here and you go to strategies, okay, you're going to see there's about 8 strategies to choose from. Now, what I've done, I think Barry's, I give him credit to build this thing to begin with, but for me, I just wanted to use one, because anything over this is I'm going to see anyway. So this is just looking for unusual option volume, basically doing more than 150% of normal. So this can be very valuable during the earnings period, and I'm gonna like I said, I've already shared that with you, but I'm just going to give you an idea just of what you're looking for in this thing. Let me go to history here and just kind of pull up. Oh, by the way, in a multi-strategy, history is a little bit different. You can't just go back and look at today or yesterday. You actually have to use this kind of a time frame thing. When you first pull it up, if you want to get only the data for today, you just basically click the Now button there and just hit OK, and that's going to bring up all the data. If you wanted to go back 2 days, you would go back 2 days ago. If you wanted to, and so forth, you get the picture here. But just to put it on 0 days this morning to now, and it's going to bring up everything that came through today. And basically all it's doing is stocks that are hitting highs and doing it on very unusual option volume percentage. And I want you guys to, I'm hoping you're not, if you want to use it for just scalping, that's fine too, but I think for those of you guys who like to hold trades longer, you can find some very good 3 or 4, 5 day holds in these things. I mean, because you have to think about it. There's huge volume coming into this thing, okay? So people are taking a position. Most people are not buying these options to turn around and sell them in 20 seconds later, okay? A lot of your option volume are some big institutions who are actually, looking to take a position for a multi-day or multi-week or multi-month hold. Does that mean they're all going to work? No, absolutely not. But at the same time, I think I think more traders should have a different perspective, and because I think too many traders come into this market and want to hold trade, jump into a trade, hold it for 10 seconds, and get out for a 20 cent win. I mean, it's fine if it works, but I think you're going to find yourself, and I've talked about this repeatedly on here, you're going to churn a lot of commissions. It can be very stressful, and you're going to end up getting jigged out a lot. So, but anyway, going back to this morning, and I'm not here to show you today what all great, although some really good ones came through there. For example, this Troll Me a Bone came through there at 9 o'clock this morning, and look at the daily chart on this. You can see where the option play magic called it out here at 78.86, and as you can see there on the daily, let me spread this out a little bit. You had a nice little breakout for a multi-month and several year high, and it actually came over this level too, didn't it? Which is sitting right now basically. But nonetheless, very good call there, and options. Options were coming in. You're basically doing 151 times its normal option volume, and it went all the way up to 80 days. So basically almost a $1.25 move just in this one right here. You can see where it called it out right there, and just kind of crept higher all day based on this option volume. Another one today, I want you to take notice, because after let's see, Target came through this one right here at 52.97. Now, definitely some, went sideways for a while, but no real pain after it, and then you had a nice move, pretty much all the way up to 53.69, so basically 75-80 cents out of that move today. But on the bigger picture, it may be one to watch, because you are getting into this gap. It did close above these 2 highs right here. Nice volume today. This is kind of the reason I kind of want to keep my eye on retail. You know, if you're looking for sectors that have been beaten up and may want to see if there's a turnaround possibility. When I start seeing option volume come into this and it increased pretty much all day, I think you're going to find it in here. Yep, there's some more coming in doing 200 times normal volume. So that's the kind of stuff I want to see. Somebody's taking a position in there. This is maybe one where, you know, you actually, instead of getting in it to maybe get 50 cents and get out, maybe hold on to a little bit and see if you can at least get this move up to this gap fill, maybe up to 55.50. There's another $2.20 right there. So I'm trying to get people to take a longer, you know, term perspective when it comes to trading. And this alert, I think, can be very beneficial, you know, if you're looking for multi-day moves. Now, the other one I gave you is the option play earnings edition. Now, all we've done here, or I've done here, was taken this strategy, and once again, I have two checked here, one for downside. If you don't like to go short or you don't like to see stocks going down on huge option volume, all you have to do is uncheck it, okay? And then all you're going to get are the ones moving up on strong volume. So let's go look at the configuration of this. Okay, basically what we've done here is taken this, the same one that I've had, and we've added a earnings date filter. And what this does here, well, let's hit our show me button and sees what it does. I put a -2 in the minimum side, and I put a +2 on the max side. So let's hit our show me button to look to see what we have done. Earnings will be reported no more than 2 days after 12 a.m. this morning. Also, earnings will be reported no more than 2 days before 12 last night. So it's kind of confusing there, but you get the picture. So basically what it's saying here is you don't want to see anything come through here unless it's just reported earnings the last 2 days are coming up in 2 days. Now, if you wanted to be more precise, and since we're getting into the thick of earnings, you could always take this alert that I just gave you and you could change this to 1. You could change it to 0.5 and 0.5, so that way you're only going to get earnings that reported after the close yesterday and this morning. So that's your preference. You know, I kind of like to keep it around 2 days, see, you know, if anything's coming through there prior to when they release. But nonetheless, this can be a great alert. Now, if you were running it today, you probably didn't see a whole lot. Let me cancel. And why is it not letting me? I got something else open down here. That. So, getting back to it, once again, if we ran this strategy today, ran a history on it, time frame, we're going to click now again, and we're going to see what came through today. And you only had 2 stocks. And why is that? It's because of the earnings date. So if you look at the earnings date, these are 2 stocks, either has earnings coming up. This PPHM has earnings coming up in 1.75 days. That would be, help me out here, Jamie, probably Monday morning. I'm just looking at this earnings date, 1.75. That would probably be Monday morning, I would think.
Yeah, I think you're right, because tomorrow would eat up the full day, and then we're looking at Monday, yeah.
Yep. Okay. But nonetheless, let's see what happened here. There you go. Even if you were using this one today, look at this move here and this one. Earnings, options started coming in, alert goes off, bam. Look at that nice little move there for those of you guys who like smaller price stocks. You had a move all the way from 515 to 545. Let's see if this air did anything. And this one had it, that would have been yesterday after the close, I believe. And that was very late in the day. Very late in the day, but one you might have on your radar looking at this daily candle here. And Jamie, I was going to ask you, this is something new I don't think they've talked about. Have you noticed this little red line that's coming into a lot of charts these days?
I have, and I believe it's when you're using, is the alert on that one a new high, or what is it, new high or new low?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so you'll notice
It's new high.
if you want to kind of, here's a quick explanation. Whenever you're using new high and new low as the alert, if you were ever watching the description column in an alert window, let's say a stock triggers at a new high, it would always automatically in the description column spit out when the next short-term resistance would be.
Okay.
And so that's what that red line is. See, it's just going to be another.
I figured it was something like that.
That we're adding, so that all of a sudden, boom, you got the short-term resistance right there drawn for you.
Perfect.
You know, which once again, hey, no longer do we have to go, okay, well, let me mark this up, click, click, click. In the meantime, the stock moves 15 cents. Now it's just going to be right there in front of you. And this perfect answer to a question that a user was asking, you know, we get this question a lot. Can Holly analyze what I want her to? Well, unfortunately, no. But that's why we've created these smart layers on the chart. And, you know, every time you just type in a stock manually or click on a different window that's not Holly, you're going to have these colorized bands that immediately go, okay, well, if you trade this, here's your stop loss. Oh, and by the way, if you care about it, here's your profit target as well. So yet one more, you know, one more cool thing that we're releasing right now and polishing up and putting out that is one of a kind.
Absolutely. And guys, how valuable is this information? I mean, if you do not have trade ideas, I mean, to me, I'm looking at this error. Okay, it went out on nice volume. Okay, pretty good volume coming in here. You know it's doing huge option volumes. Earnings just behind it right now. And now you got it approaching a potential, you know, breakout. And if you don't have something like this, you're going to have no idea this thing did this on the close. But so a very, very powerful alert, especially during earnings season. So you guys, you know, take that and try to, you know, apply it. You know, if you're looking for maybe to get an edge, that is just stuff that me and Jamie, when we started trading, we didn't have anything like this. That's just incredible data there. To see a little stock like that that just popped up at the close, doing huge option volume, closing on highs, close to a major, you know, another major breakout. But all right, let's see. Can you get those smart data also into column, not only on chart? Yeah, well, that's probably not. Yeah, it's probably not in the picture. I mean, if you can see it on the chart, I don't know. I'm not sure why. You know, why you need it in the column. I guess you know. Well, actually, it is in the column if you're using description, like you said, Akiva. You can use what's called our description column. It's going to tell you where your next line of resistance is. But I better bring Jamie in here. I got a thunderstorm above me here, and I don't want to lose my.
Oh, I'm here.
Lose my internet here. Not Jamie. I'm sorry, Scott. It's about that time, guys. Appreciate everybody coming today. I'm gonna let Scott walk us out of here and hang on because he's gonna offer you a nice little discount. So
good stuff, Andy. Good stuff.
Scott, if you want to. Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, good stuff from you as well. And Scotty, you want to come and dance us out of here?
Sure, thank you. Yeah, just there will be a new episode up tomorrow, and it's super easy to subscribe. Just search for Trade Ideas Podcast. Trade Ideas Podcast. That's all you need to do in your favorite podcast app. And tomorrow after the close, would probably, I think, Dan Merkin and Jamie Hodge tomorrow. Do remember to sign up for our, or if you're just a standard subscriber and really want to try out premium without committing to an upgrade, just do this. You can add you always use with us, and it will be added to your account. You'll have premium access tomorrow evening. Everyone that signs up for the test drive before the test drive actually starts will have early access before the market opens on Monday. We're allowing people to sign up, though, through Wednesday. So, but, you know, you're going to want to start on time so that you get all the benefits of having the full week. But if you tell your friends on Tuesday or Wednesday to sign up, and they do sign up for the test drive then, they still get 5 market days. It's just on the following Monday and Tuesday, we're not running our special support. So they might be just kind of left with a webinar in the trading room instead of all the extra stuff that we're doing. So go to trade-ideas.com/test drive and secure your place by paying the $8.88 for the real-time data and support overage. And you get all access to our premium features. You get to test out Holly, and we'll have a lot of support available for everyone who is trying it out. So do that and share that with your friends. If you do want to jump on board and start trade and start using Trade Ideas right away, you can just become a subscriber today. And with the code SUNNY, all caps, like it is on your screen, you get 15% off your first month or year of Trade Ideas. And both standard and premium include a full hour of one-on-one training. We're just not running the training next week, but you can sign up the week after. Do also remember, oh, by the way, there is a handout. If you go to the handouts panel and you go to webinar interface, you can click on the blue link after you expand that box and download some of these slides. That also includes the link to the test drive open house that starts Monday, and also the promo code. If you have a question, just email us, info@trade-ideas.com. And if you didn't get your question answered, that's the best way to get it answered now too, because the webinar is going to be over. So info@trade-ideas.com, or you can email Jamie follow Jamie on Twitter at QuantBot. Steve Gomez is at TodayTrader. Dan Merkin is at TradeIdeas1. Trade Ideas Pro is where we are on Facebook. I was going to say one last thing, but oh, never mind. We already covered that. So yeah, sign up for the test drive if you're not yet a subscriber. And oh, yeah, here's that other thing. We're having a 3-hour webinar tomorrow morning. Some of you may already be aware of these. It's a support webinar on Fridays between 7 or 8 a.m. Pacific to 11 a.m. Pacific. So
8 to 11 Pacific.
8 to 11 Pacific. So you'll get an email in about a half hour or so with an invitation to that. If you'd like if you have some more questions, if you'd like to ask Jamie, Steve, or Andy something and get a live response, just sign up for that and attend that, and they can help you out. All right. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you in the test drive next week. It's going to be fun.
All right. Thanks, everybody. See you then.
Yep. Have a great rest of the day. Bye-bye.